Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This time on the Kindness Project, Oblivious Housemates, lockdown playlist, and we talk about black market confectionery.
Morning everybody, hope your Thursday's going really, really well. I'm joined by a girl who clearly doesn't check the mic properly when we start a podcast. It's Charlotte Dames.
I checked the mic on both devices. I will have you very well know. Humph. Anyway,
What's humph?
I don't know.
What kind of Heidi, thank you for letting us know that we are coming through loud and clear this time. Appreciate that. And have you got an intro?
Yes, I am joined by a man whose new work-home life mix has changed his sense of fashion. It's Chris Dames.
What do you mean change my sense of fashion?
Oh, you know, the jumper and the shorts and the...
Right. So what I was going to do after Tuesday's podcast, I put a jumper on because I was in my sports gear and I was meant to go out for a run. So I did that like newsreader thing where the top half and the bottom half didn't really match because I was wearing sports gear shorts, and I got caught up in loads of work. So until I did my workout in the evening, I didn't come out in my shorts, did I?
But it was a questionable fashion choice.
What do you mean?
Questionable fashion.
I thought I pulled it off. Is that a no?
It's a no. It's a no.
So how is your lockdown going so far? 4 days in.
Good. Not stir crazy yet.
Okay.
I haven't murdered anyone yet.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Particularly as there's a 1 in 3 chance that might be me. So I'm glad you're
1 in 4. Nah, I wouldn't kill the dog.
I'm glad to hear it. And we were talking on the first session of this that the German Big Brother house didn't know that the lockdown was in play because they were stuck in the Big Brother house. So what we'd like to know, unofficial question of the podcast, we'll get onto the actual question of the podcast later. What we'd like to know is, what would you have done if you were in the Big Brother house with like all of this going on? Would you want to know, or would you want to stay completely oblivious?
Do I want to know? Sorry, that song. Anyone says, "Would you want to know?" and I'm like, "Yeah, that song."
What song's that?
Do I want to know?
What was that from? Who's that by?
I don't know.
Okay.
It just gets stuck in my head.
Fair enough.
The rest of the song isn't relevant, so I'm just...
Just that line.
Just that line.
Fair enough. And that moves us on really neatly to this live episode's question of the podcast, which is, what is on your lockdown music playlist? Because I'm thinking of starting a new Spotify playlist with just lockdown music, and we've had some amazing suggestions on social media already. And we'd like to know what's on your lockdown playlist. Hello to Sean, to Roberta, to Kelly, to Catherine, to Andrew, to Tracy. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Dean, to James, and to Rich, who are all watching live. So really appreciate that. But what would you do? So what would you do? You're in the Big Brother house. Would you want to know?
Well, it depends on if they decide to tell me. If they decide to tell me, I think I'd rather like stay in. You know, just a few less people. So like I a few less people milling around the world, not really.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just spreading the disease.
You just spread the disease in the Big Brother house, couldn't you? But then, if you were in the Big Brother house, like the German Big Brother house, post pre-quarantine, you wouldn't have the disease. You wouldn't have the disease, would you? So you wouldn't need to worry about it. So, give us your comments on what music that you're listening to specifically in the lockdown, and people can get touch with us in a bunch of different ways, can't
Right,
they?
we have a Twitter. It's at Ola Kindness, and if you are watching on live, you are currently on our Facebook page. Way!
What was that? Way! Suddenly the podcast. The problem is at the minute, I just almost said the word podcast studio, like we've got some sort of special studio.
Like we ever
set
had
up.
some sort of studio.
Because actually we're at our dining room table, which is seconding as an office and as a dining room table and as everything else at the minute. Now, one thing that I do regret is because we've got an office that we used to use for my business quite a while ago, and then we moved out that office and to our own space, and I got rid of the Wi-Fi in that office.
I know, I was devastated.
Regretting it.
I was devastated.
Why was you devastated?
It was like a nice, quiet little place I could go and sit and listen to me music that wasn't my bedroom that was constantly getting the door knocked on.
Yeah. So what we might have to do, depending on how long this lasts, install Wi-Fi right down the back again. That might be...
I might just start living down there, you know.
Well, you know what? There's probably enough space for a bit of a self-contained flat. But before you do, can I move in first, just for a couple of years as a trial, and then
No, you can have a
it?
couple of weeks. And then we'll have it.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was how you're getting on with shopping at the minute.
Yes.
Because I know that for a lot of stuff, we've been fine and we haven't been panic buying, and we've been all good getting stuff. The only thing we haven't managed to get is eggs. And I love an omelette. My favourite food, as we've spoken about on the podcast before, is an omelette. But look what Cassie and Charlotte went out for a dog walk yesterday, and admire what they brought back yesterday. Eggs.
Cellophane.
Now the weird thing is, Mum said, Cassie said that she went into the off licence, not the supermarket because they didn't have any, but the off licence, and said to the guy, you wouldn't happen to have any eggs, and because they weren't on display, and he just from under the counter just came with these eggs. And I was like, are they like black market eggs now, or what? And I don't know, but you said something earlier on about unbranded chocolate. What is that?
It's like, you know when you haven't been to an offie in ages, have you? But I love a good offie.
Why do you love a good offie?
Because they're cheap and discounted, and they're the only places that ever have my favourite Lipton iced tea. And
oh, I love an iced tea.
yeah, but you're one of those mainstream people who like peach and lemon. And I like the mango one, and they don't do it in mainstream shops.
So you go in and get mango iced tea in the offie, yeah? That's probably the least innocuous thing you could get in an offie. They sell big bottles of cider at like 20p a unit or whatever.
Like my mango iced tea,
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah, you just pass all the ciders and go for the mango iced tea.
or like sometimes if I go out, I'll go in and I'll be like, I should probably stock up if I can't, and I'll go in and I'll get a bar
Sorry,
of
are you
chocolate.
stockpiling mango iced tea?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
No, sometimes I'll go in, or I'll be going out for a day out, and I'm not sure if there'll be chance to stop for lunch or stop for snacks, and I'll be like, okay, I'll just pick up some chocolate bars, and they're cheap, and then I'll pick up an iron brew because they're cheap.
But this is the thing, right? You were talking earlier on about unbranded chocolate bars. So I'd go in and get a Snickers. What do you get? What like, have they got no label, or have they just got names that are just a little bit off-brand?
No, they don't.
Generic chocolate bar.
It
What's
just says white chocolate, 50p.
Now, I'm worried about this black market chocolate. What is going on with this chocolate?
Not black market.
What is it then?
It's just chocolate. It's just chocolate that's cheap. The only place you can get cheaper chocolate is the confectionery.
In the bin. Just diving into the bins round the back of Tesco's.
I once got a 20p chocolate bar at the big Tesco's, but I've never found that again.
What brand was this chocolate? Was it one of those funky unbranded ones?
No, it actually had a brand and everything, but I think it was baking chocolate.
You're not meant to eat baking chocolate. That's why it was so cheap.
I only waved at everyone.
Why are you eating? Like, did you just literally buy this baking chocolate and start munching on it? What is going on?
I can't imagine why else it would be so cheap. Like,
no. That's what you need to worry about.
Tasted good,
if chocolate is too cheap and the guy brings it from under the counter, you probably shouldn't be buying it.
It wasn't under the counter, it was on a shelf, thank you very much.
At the back, saying no police here.
No, right at the top, right at the front, right at the bottom.
Right, yeah, just out of eye line, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can get in touch with us. Oh, Hayley Balls said she likes the old Happy Shopper chocolate that apparently they used to sell. And Andrew Berwick's mentioned that if you want eggs, go to a farm shop. That is a good idea.
Yes.
Probably safer than buying it from under the counter in your off licence. But we'll.
What's wrong with a good old off licence?
No, they do Happy Shopper chocolate clearly.
Discounted gummy sweets.
What? Sorry, what?
Discounted gummy sweets.
Well, why are you buying discounted gummy sweets? I mean, there's...
Okay, in Tesco's, you can get 3 for 2.
Right.
Which is fine, but you barely get anything in the bag. You go to an off licence, you can get 3 for 1, and the bags are packed full of gummy sweets, you know?
With no label on.
No, it's just the
Just
name.
in a cellophane bag. Yeah, there's ones we wrapped earlier. Why is there sellotape around the lid, mate? Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I'm unknowingly trafficking like drugs or something.
I don't know what's going on. So we're gonna move on, my friends, to small business shout out. To do on the podcast every day is highlight somebody who's running a small business, and small businesses at the minute are feeling the strain of the lockdowns, particularly if they can't trade as normal. And I want to give a big shout out to a guy called Lee Harris. I've actually written on there Les Harris, but actually I don't know why I've done that. What he's doing is over and above what anybody expects. He's got electrical business called the PST Group. They're electricians, and I know him through some of the networks we get involved with through our business. And what Lee's doing is offering free support to anybody who's vulnerable, the elderly, and emergency workers, NHS workers, because he said that nobody should be left in the dark during this period. And what he wouldn't want to do is be in a position where somebody felt that they couldn't afford getting an electrician out because they're under economic pressure. So him and his team are offering free a free service. I think he said that he'll deliver the labour for free, but as long as people cover the cost of parts for specifically vulnerable people, the elderly and NHS workers. And when he mentioned that, I thought I had to mention it on the podcast because that is an amazing thing to do. One other thing I want to talk about is the NHS volunteer scheme, because that's come out. I'm going to be volunteering for that. So, and I hope that if you've got some time on your hands at the minute, you get the opportunity to do that too. Because the more we can do to help our communities at this period of time, I really like to get involved. So, thank you to Lee for that. service that is delivering. We've had a few listeners' comments from previous episodes that we didn't have the chance to read out before, so I want to mention them quickly. Linda Fuller said, "Hi Chris, I'm watching you from sunny Pakefield." We have been to Pakefield.
Have we really?
We have. It's possibly got the worst pontins in the world. Do you remember that pontins we stayed in?
That's Pakefield.
Yeah. Literally, we had a cheap weekend. We took my mum to a pontins in Pakefield, and it was an interesting experience.
It was funny. I like the bingo.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on the bingo.
I like
but Pakefield as a place was alright. And what Linda's just seen is somebody in the window of the place opposite, two drawings of rainbows. So she's going to put a drawing of a rainbow just to show that somebody's seen them. Because that signifies something, doesn't it, paintings of rainbows?
Yes.
What does it signify? Can you remember?
Something about peace and prosperity or something.
Yeah, so good sign to put up.
Yes.
Francis Barrett, thanks Francis for giving us this. We were talking about mnemonics to remember stuff on a previous episode, particularly the planets, and Francis said she's got a really good one. Many very empty marmalade jars stood upon Neptune's piano.
Aww.
What do you think of that one?
That's funky.
Yeah, she likes that one. We like that one. And we also were talking, because you got a bit obsessed by...
I'm over that now.
Well, you're over the guy who's flipping his daughter?
Yeah, I finished a podcast. I'm good now.
Okay. What podcast?
The Magnus Archives.
Oh, okay. But we were also talking about that guy who was throwing his daughter up in the air for fun. Do you remember?
Yeah, that's what
He was a cheerleader, and effectively his Instagram was full of him just slinging his kids up in the air.
It was, and him flying around his drone. It was a good 2 hours.
Yeah. Did he ever attach the drone to the child and just like sort of fly?
No, but he did follow his dog around with the drone while it was doing a kind of like a doggy assault course.
So we might make this a bit of a regular feature actually. What's your new internet obsession?
For mine, it's probably the new podcast I started.
Okay, what's your new podcast?
I wouldn't recommend it. It's called Caravan, and it's about this dude, and he falls into a pit, and it's into a canyon, but it's full of like supernatural creatures and stuff like that, and he joins this thing called a caravan, and they want to break all the supernatural creatures out of the canyon because they're stuck in the canyon because of some kind of devil's trap.
Right.
Because there's genuinely soldiers of Satan in this canyon.
Okay.
But, like, these supernatural creatures are just people that fell into the canyon and then became kind of, like, adapted because of the supernatural in the canyon. Or people that died in the canyon and became reborn as these supernatural creatures. So
you are massively into your podcast sci-fi fiction /
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
at the minute. Yeah.
I'm not one for...
But you did show me an Instagram thing of potatoes in movies the other day as well, didn't you? What was that? What was that?
That didn't last long. That lasted like 10 minutes. I don't even remember the name of that account. It was just people photoshopping potatoes into movies or remaking movie posters with potatoes instead of people.
Yes, my friends, people are that bored at the minute. They're photoshopping
I don't know, that account's been going on
into
for
movies.
ages.
Yes, my friends,
Plus,
people are
the
that
egg
bored.
is making a
Anyway.
recurrence. Woo!
What?
The world record egg is making a recurrence.
What world record egg?
The world record egg. The egg that had the most likes on Instagram. It was just...
What is the world record egg?
The egg that had the most likes on Instagram.
Why? Right, show me this egg. What's so great about this egg?
It's just an egg. It's genuinely just an egg.
How many likes has it got on
It's
Instagram?
got loads of likes. It's a brilliant egg. Does anyone else know what the egg I'm talking about?
Right, listeners, viewers, live
There we
people
go.
watching.
See?
Do you know about this amazing Instagram egg?
See, it's just... Wait, let me go down to the first post. It's just an egg.
It's just an egg. It's just an egg.
Let's set the world record and get the most liked post on Instagram.
And how many likes has that got?
It got more than 18 million.
18 million likes for an egg. That That is the world we're living in, people.
But, it's a good account because the egg kind of deals with stuff about like anxiety and stuff, and loneliness, and like it's a thing about coming together and working together because the whole kind of community on Instagram.
So could we potentially say it's quite a good egg? Are we not going there on that? No?
I'm trying to avoid saying that.
So a good egg on Instagram's got 18 million viewers. I mean, we get 30,000 listen to the podcast on a regular basis, but we haven't reached the heights of the 18 million liked egg.
I think it got more than 18 million. I think 18 million was the boundary they wanted to set, and they got past it.
Fair. Dave Forsdyke is doing an amazing thing because every day is mentioning silver linings. So things that's happening in the current situation where people are helping. So I want to, because we're a podcast all about positivity and sharing the good and sharing the hopefulness, I want to talk about some of those. So thanks to Dave again for stepping up to the plate.
Keeping up the good work, my man.
Keeping up the amazing work. Scientists from King's College, guides and other hospital research centres have produced an app for us to report our current state of health. This will help identify at-risk areas and groups and effectively help the health services manage resources more effectively. So that's modern technology being used to make sure that the resources are delivered to where they need to. And you can download that at https://covid.joinzoe.com. Take a look at that because that'd be a good way to contribute from your home. From the modern to the old, a poem written in the 1800s about 10 years after the famine in Ireland is quite apt for the current coronavirus lockdown and gives us some hope for the future. And we're going to read it. Do you want to read it?
I'll read it. You scroll past the first line, man. I need the first line. Okay. And people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played and learned new ways of being and stopped and listened deeper. Someone meditated, someone prayed, someone danced, someone met with their shadow. And people began to think differently and people healed. And in the absence of people who lived in ignorant ways, dangerous, meaningless and heartless, even the earth began to heal. Even when the danger ended and people found each other, grieved for the dead people, and they made new choices and dreamed of new visions and created new ways of life and healed the earth completely just as they were healed themselves.
That was by Kathleen O'Meara. So thank you for sharing that, Dave. And that's Dave Forsdyke's Reasons to be grateful. So thanks for sharing, Dave. We really appreciate that. What we always do on these live shows is also mention one of our previous podcasts. And if you're new to the Kindness Project, we've been doing this for how long? Too long?
Too long. No, I'm just kidding.
2 years on iTunes and Spotify and all of that sort of stuff. You can find us at www.thekindnessproject.co.uk. A lot of nonsensical waffling along the way, but also
I had to look up which episodes we were talking about to remember which ones they were.
And now you've remembered.
Now I've remembered.
And we've got 115 episodes on there. The bits that I'm most proud of are the amazing interviews we've done with people who are contributing positively to the world. And we've got like sort of just loads of people who have done that.
Yes.
We've talked about charity, we've talked about giving, we've talked about helping communities, we've talked about philanthropy, we've talked about a range of different stuff. And actually the part of the reason we do this is because it gives us hope and positivity talking to people who are doing amazing stuff in the world. There's enough bad news out there that spreads some good cheer and hopefully some positive energy.
Yes.
But part of the reason we do it is so we get the opportunity and a platform to talk absolute nonsense.
Absolute
And
balderdash.
the recommended episodes that you can find on the website
On
today
our absolute nonsense.
are two episodes where we just find ourselves in floods of tears because we're laughing. And we just got a bit obsessed with the names Barry and Beryl. They're funny names on their own, but listen to episodes on www.thekindnessproject.co.uk. Listen to episodes 46 and episodes 103, and you'll find out all about
Barry and Beryl.
all about Barry and Beryl. And on episode 46, we interview Lucy from Tapestry about the amazing work they do supporting the elderly. So
Yes.
that's worth a listen to. I'm going to go back to the answers we've got for today's question of the podcast, which is this week's question. We're normally doing this weekly, so I'm still trying to get my head around doing it every day. Today's question of the podcast, which is, what's on your lockdown playlist? So do you want to do some of them?
Yes. Okay. So, where is it? Okay.
Al McCann.
Ooh, those are some good ones. AC/DC, Jailbreak, Maiden, Run to the Hills, Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You.
Very, very apt, those ones. We like those ones.
Oh, Dean Grant said, Tiffany, I think we're alone now.
Now, do you know that?
No.
It's a really cheesy 80s pop tune where she's running around a supermarket. Not a supermarket, shopping centre. She's not bulk buying or holding. I think we're alone now. Where's the eggs? Do I need to go under a counter? Why are you looking at me like that? Right, next, Justin Gaffney's put a YouTube link to a song called Coronavirus Rhapsody. We'll give that a listen. John Sharman's clearly bored to death by Blink 182. Karina Murray said Hotel California. Deborah Meyer said, I remember my mum last night and she answered the phone singing Queen's I'm Going Slightly Mad. Roberta White said the Animals, we've got to get out of this place. Lee Harris, The Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me. Francis Barrett said Locked Up by Akon. Hayley Ball said REM, End of the World as We Know It. Alan Cash said Rattle That Lock by David Gilmour. Catherine Knowles went a bit off-piste, but she's gone. Think about things. It's Iceland's entry to Eurovision this
Did they not get cancelled?
It did, but the song's still out. The video is a must-watch. So is the Russian video too. I know that I'll be watching them on YouTube later. Bev Stove said, I'm listening to Ludovico Enuad every day, and it's continued. Justin Cash said Auntie Flo and Kabsa. Jiten Vasani said, I'm listening to the Bee Gees alone. I've just got this image of Jiten, Saturday Night Fever style, walking up and down his front room. Staying alive, staying alive. And Chris Bard, at Ovation Chris on Twitter, said he's curated a happy music playlist recently. Easily the winner was Esperanza by Manu Chao, surely the happiest record ever recorded. Dunkirk said I want to break free. Dave Forsdyke said I have 3 albums on the go at the moment.
Oh, do you want me to read them? Okay. Rainbow Rising, Down and Out, This Is How We Roll, Son of Apollo, MMXX. If you like rock, classic rock, heavy rock, give the other.
Now that sounds like your cup of tea, doesn't it?
So, I have a playlist of just.
So give that a go. Roberta White said Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely, and Anything by Queen. John Cook said Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy.
Carol Stanton, is that how you say it?
Staunton.
There we go. BBC Radio 2, especially Popmaster. Honestly, boss, I'm working from home.
She's not. She's clearly not, is she? And Roberta White said, Oh my God. Oh, we've got to talk about this.
No.
Right, we've got to talk about this, right? There is an album, ladies and gentlemen. My in-laws live in a place called Arbroath on the east
I
coast
thought you
of
were going to say
Scotland.
Scotland there, like they didn't know.
In a place, a long, faraway place called Scotland. Called Arbroath on the east coast of Scotland, just north of Dundee, and there's an album by a band called Slipway, right? And we'll put a link in the show notes. There is a song about Arbroath Smokies.
Yes.
That's one. There's a song about a lighthouse boat disaster
one's my
of 1852. This album by a band called Slipway is so niche. It's just literally only people in Arbroath know it. And it's
American
amazing.
From Arbroath or whatever his name was.
Yeah. It's just brilliant. So I can't find it on Spotify. That's how niche it is. But if you get the opportunity to listen to the Smokey song, just Google it. There's a bizarre link. Not even on YouTube. It's not even on YouTube. It's on a local paper's website that you can listen to it.
Is it the one
Give it a
with the kids
listen.
singing as well?
Yeah. I'm going down to
Oh
the.
my God.
Are we not doing it? Okay,
No,
fair
no,
enough.
thank you.
But give the Smokey song by Slipway a go. Google that, and in our next live show, tell me what you think of that. And on that particular note, we are done.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not done. Can I just say, we're not going to be doing a Facebook Live tomorrow, Saturday, but we're going to start again on bright and early on Sunday morning.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
yeah, so we're taking a couple of days break. But yeah, we're gonna be back bright and early on Saturday. And to finish us off,
Yes.
Charlotte has got a so-called joke of the day.
Yes. What do you call a can opener that doesn't work?
Don't know.
A can opener.
And on that note, we'll see you next time.